Right, well, we'll kind of get cracking into our list. I'm going into it, if you listeners at home want to do it, there wasn't any rules implied. Like when I was putting mine together, I tried to avoid New Japan and Impact Wrestling guys because with the Forbidden Door being open at the moment, it could be a guarantee that any of them could eventually show up for a match at least, and then they basically had an all elite moment. How did you guys find putting the list together, Scott? I know you basically struggled with too many names. You're gonna wear out our honorable mention section.
I really am. I really am. That's probably going to be. It was more just a case of like I had to very quickly fantasy book in my head and being like, okay, I've got all these names, but who can I picture in the storyline that's going to make me slap my wallet on the ground and fucking pray? So I've gone for just those names, and I just started thinking of dream matches in my head. Of which there are plenty, especially on WWE's mid-card. And even in wider indie wrestling, I found I got a couple of names from there too. And NXT mid-card as well. There's so many names. So many. But yeah.
Absolutely. Jace, how did you find it?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't put a list together. I'm just going to say the first 5 that pop into my head.
Okay, right. Well,
look, these opposing styles. This is very synonymous to what we were talking about earlier. You've got to have a variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott's very has to be like this, and I'm just like, hey, we're just going to have a party over here.
Yeah, that's
I am the AEW in this situation. I just go with the floor, let people do what they want.
What's that? You write your promos, you fucking loser.
Right, boys, we'll crack in. Do you want me to kick off the list?
Go for it.
Right, my 5th pick would be Volta. And I'll tell you for why. Essentially, with WWE making all these different cuts across the board, they've already, with the relaunch of NXT, they've already stripped back a lot of the promises of the whole global expansion that Triple H wanted to do of having an NXT in like every continent, pretty much. I generally don't see NXT UK surviving much longer. Even though there's brilliant matches, brilliant talent involved, it's just not pulling in the figures I think they want. And as a result, I think Vince will be like, well, why do we still have it? Now, that obviously means they could bring people across. And the word is they want Volta more on NXT, the main brand NXT, going forward following that Elia match. But if you know Volta, he's a man that he loves Europe. The big reason he's not fully with WWE is because he doesn't want to do the traveling and he doesn't want to move to America. So if he does, it's going to be a lot of backwards and forwards. And I think even once he's done NXT, if he wins their belt and then drops it, what's he going to do next? I don't see him having a run on the main roster. AEW is more of a better prospect for him because, again, he's a wrestler's wrestler, right? The dream matches, they're amazing. I'd finally get my dream match of him and Kenny Omega. That'd be amazing. Plus, they're very liberal with the talents. Obviously, Pac being the example, he lives in the UK and comes across for shows. And because they don't do like a heavy touring schedule, that means Volta would be able to do the same. He could still live in Europe, come across for some matches, go backwards and forwards, and be open to being able to do other wrestling stuff as well. Because, like, again, if we're in AEW, you're not tied to them exclusively. They've shown up in other places. And yeah, I mean, just the dream matches there. I mean, my God, him and Kenny Omega is top of my bucket list of dream matches, which is why I put it on our super card when I voted for it. And yeah, just that alone makes me want to see him show up in AEW.
Lance Archer as well comes to mind too. That would be a big Hoss fest, and I want to see that. That's all. Yeah, Walter is also number 8 on my list, so I get to cross him off.
Ooh, close.
Give me, if we're talking like dream matches for Walter in AEW, we've had Lance Archer, we've had Kenny Omega. Give me Walter Moxley now.
Oh, yes! I'm just picturing Walter.
Actually, it's a match that's already happened, but I'd love to see it again. Walter Pac.
Yes. I want to see Walter chop light tubes into Moxley. That would be a great spot. I'm just trying to think of others as well, because there's some good ones that are coming to mind straight away.
Walter can be the kind of guy as well. Like, obviously, as Greg said, he loves being in Europe. He doesn't want to move to America. He can be a guy who sort of, not to the extent of Brock Lesnar, but he can be a guy who just shows up, does a couple of weeks, has a match, and then disappears.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
he can do that very easily.
Because of his stock in NXT, I think he's still not quite on the level of being a household name, but I think given the popularity he's got, you bring him over to AEW, they could easily build him up as that Brock Lesnar type monster. And like you say, if he doesn't want to be there full time, have him come in a couple of times a year just to do big programs for these dream matches. And it'll make money and it'd give me such a wrestling bonus in the matches that he has. It'd be great.
I mean,
you say a household name. I think for the AEW crowd, he is.
He'd be up there, but like in terms of a wider audience.
If you turned up on SmackDown on Friday, most of the crowd or most of just the casual fans probably wouldn't know who he was. Well, they might have heard of him, but they wouldn't know what he was about. Whereas if you turned up on Dynamite tonight, everyone, the place would erupt.
I think so. Yeah. Just hit the opening part of the symphony, and I think the place would just go mental.
Yeah, it could be a great excuse for AEW just to come to Europe. For crying out loud, come to Europe, because if they make that like a regular tour, if AEW come do like a European tour like once a year maybe, then we can be like, oh, that can be when Walter comes in. They come like. Basically, they come to the UK and like you're like, right, who's Walter battering this time? That kind of thing.
Could, like AEW could even like do that, like make a pay-per-view, a yearly pay-per-view in the UK around Walter, or even not even the UK. Like even if it toured Europe, like one year they do it in the UK, the next they do it in Germany, in France, in Italy, whatever. But like that's Walter's show.
I bloody love Walter. I bloody love Walter.
Absolutely. I'm glad that went down well. Scott, why don't you take us through yours? We'll let Jace fly by the seat of his pants last.
Okay. So just to be clear, we are including teams as well.
Absolutely. Basically, with this list, you could have had a whole tag team for an entry. You could have picked, obviously, a women's wrestler, whoever you want to see, basically.
Wonderful, good, because I got the lot in this list. But I'm starting off with one of my favorite wrestlers of the modern era, who I feel like would shine back under his previous style, especially given the people who currently work for AEW. My pick is Shinsuke Nakamura. I've been wanting to see him versus Kenny for a while. I've also been wanting to see the King of Strong style again for a while. He's getting sort of back to it with the Boog stuff. He's getting TV time, fine with that. But get out of there, Shinsuke. I want the strong strikes. I want basically just the energy of his match with Sami Zayn and his matches with AJ Styles in New Japan, and just let him loose in AEW and give him Omega, give him Danielson, and bring back the extra entrances. Not the WWE ones, although some of the ones in NXT were brilliant with the strobe lighting, but give him the massive crown and the dancing girls and the old boy weird parade thing he got. Give him the most flamboyant outfits on the planet. Yeah, no, I adore Nakamura, and I want to see him in a couple of dream matches.
Yeah, Nakamura, like, I hope if WWE, because WWE missed the boat on pulling the trigger on Nakamura, he should have won the title from AJ the year he won the Rumble. Like, I reckon if you said to people, like, who won, like, has there been a Japanese Royal Rumble winner, they'd say no, because it was just so unmemorable.
Yeah,
which is a shame for arguably my favourite Royal Rumble match, at least of the last 15 years.
I think that's got my favourite Royal Rumble moment, where you had Balor, Reigns, Nakamura, Cena, Orton, Mysterio. Having that
Yeah.
stare down. That's one of my favourite Royal Rumble moments, and that's when you were like, they're going to pull the trigger on, well, they're either going to have Reigns do the double, because I think he won it the year before,
Yeah.
or maybe in the year before that, and or they're going to do it for Nakamura. But yeah, Nakamura in AEW is just a license to print money. Because he has the veteran. He could put together an amazing match with a bloody mop. We know this.
Yeah.
But he's also got that wisdom, that veteran wisdom to be like, to say to the younger guys, right, here's what you're doing. If you tweak it a little bit to be like this, you're golden. And there's not really like that. I'm trying to think. There's not really that really big Japanese name in AEW permanently.
No.
Yeah, permanently. I mean, like, yeah,
Obviously, we've got like
Suzuki.
guest people coming in, but there's no one there who's permanent. Which I think Nakamura just, even if he's like does like being wrestler and like a coach to the younger guys, like teach them that strong style. Because I think that's something WWE just lacks. Like we've talked about, it has to be the WWE style. But if you look at Zayn Nakamura, two different styles that just work together so well. But apart from that, it's everyone's pretty much got the same moveset. Like, you know, any match you watch, you know you're going to see a suicide dive.
Yeah.
And I think have Nakamura there, get a couple of different styles into people. And
sorry, Greg, just one last thing. If that doesn't sell you enough on Nakamura, I would just like to say, imagine Excalibur calling out for the Bomb-IA knee. Give it its original name. Anyways, it's very sorry, Greg, as you were.
No, that's all right, man. I was just basically to agree with your point. I think, for me, Shinsuke peaked with that Sami Zayn match, and that is like his debut match. Like, I think from there, fair enough, his NXT run was good, but then we got the main roster. It just feels like he never fully gelled with the WWE style, and then on top of that, they've somewhat pushed him, but they're never fully always known what to do with him. And I just feel like he must be reaching the point where he's maybe getting a bit fed up, and he's not. If he goes to AEW, he can just be fully back to like how he would have worked in New Japan. Like, he can let loose the strong style again. And I just think he could. If he's obviously like quite a lot more senior as well. I think if he's going to look to round out his career soon, that would probably be the place to do it. And on top of that, like a lot of the reasons he went to WWE are no longer there anymore. He never fully got to fulfill them. So I think one of the big reasons he went there is because he wanted that match with Bryan Danielson. And to my knowledge, I don't think they ever did have a match. I could be wrong.
No, so I think a tag match might have happened, but I'll need to look that up.
I think they might have like teased like potentially doing a match in like a Rumble or something, but it just never came about.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I mean, proof is there. Like, if they had a match, we would have probably remembered it. But yeah, the idea that them two just colliding would just be an ultimate dream. So yeah, that's definitely a top choice. Jace,
speaking of Nakamura,
he's
never lost a match with John Cena. Not many people can say that in WWE.
Yes, exactly.
That's a hell of a record for him to leave on.
Yeah.
Have you got one for us at number 5, Jace?
I've got one.
Okay.
One. Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I'm going to cross that off my list as well. That was 27 for me.
So I kept him off mine because obviously there's the rumors abound that he could potentially be going there when his contract is up. But
I haven't seen these. Rumors.
Oh, okay. Well, give us your reasons then of why you'd want to see him there.
So basically, Kevin Owens, because he is amazing in the ring. Like, he could have great matches with. You could go and have more great matches with Jericho. You could have great matches with Omega, Phoenix, Malachi Black, everyone. But the main reason I want him in AEW is because I want Kevin Stein going one-on-one in a promo battle with CM Punk.
Ooh.
That
Or
would be good.
Kevin Steen versus MJF.
Yeah, just like, and I think AEW's style would benefit him more because Kevin Owens at the minute, I think he's one of like maybe 5 wrestlers who doesn't have to, who's allowed to go off script.
Yeah.
I think it's like Reigns is allowed now, Cena, The Rock when he's there, KO, and I think, and Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who don't have to stick to scripts. But obviously, they still have to keep it PG. But if he went to AEW, just imagine the absolute fire that will come out of that microphone. And again, just the dream matches.
Yeah.
Get Fuego del Sol to sell the stunner, for crying out loud, and bringing the stunner to AEW, including the rest of Kevin Owens's like stupendously good moveset, would be a blessing. He's very much a Ring of Honor style of wrestler. He came from the same kind of alumni that Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk did. It's very much that kind of high octane Ring of Honor American indie style, and it's a spectacle for sure. And it fits in AEW so well. Yeah, it's a great pick.
100%. I mean, he's the same kind of name of like when Adam Cole went across there. It just made sense because that's where a lot of his friends basically are now. And again, Kevin Owens is a guy, he's in it for the wrestling. And fair enough, he's good at the entertainment side of it, which is why I think Vince has always been a bit keen on him because he can talk. I mean, Vince McMahon has not let many people headbutt him. Full on. You know what I'm
bleed
saying?
hard way too. And he bled hard way.
So I think Vince does have a bit of a liking to Kevin, but yeah, I think I like obviously you didn't hear about this, Jace, but yeah, big rumors are about his contracts due at the end of the year, and all reports seem to point to that. Yeah, he's not going to re-sign, and he is going to jump ship. I just think it would like we've been saying though, it is just a much better fit for the kind of person he is. I mean, I think he was always a WWE fan at heart, but he's kind of had his moment there. I think he's done pretty much all he probably can do. I mean, I just don't see him getting another run with the Universal or WWE Championship, you know what I mean? I feel like he had that run in the sun, and now, because other people are more the focus, if he went to AEW, maybe he could have a big run with something like the TNT or even eventually the AEW title.
See, I think the way Owens has been booked in WWE, like even when he was Universal Champion, he was still booked like a mid-carder.
Yeah.
Fully.
And I think AEW, especially like, because he'll have Jericho in his corner all the way when it comes to how he's booked. Like AEW could book him to the moon, to the absolute moon, and get him that main event status that he deserves.
No, 100%. Ready to move on to number 4, gents?
Yeah.
So for my number 4, I decided to go to a guy who's recently been doing some great stuff in Ring of Honor, and he's kind of a very savvy mind when he comes to his own sort of social media and handling stuff outside of wrestling, and that is Danhausen.
Danhausen? I don't know if I know Danhausen.
Ooh, well, let's go. So the Danhausen would essentially be a great wrestler to add to, because the one thing AEW is not afraid of doing, it's a bit more things on the comedic side. I mean, obviously you look at how well Orange Cassidy took off, even though he does tremendous wrestling as well. I think Danhausen would be the perfect wrestler to add to that. I think I need to get a picture of him just so you can kind of see who he is. So he's really hard to describe. He's a guy, he's actually one of Conan O'Brien's favorite wrestlers because Danhausen is very much influenced by Conan O'Brien as he is by wrestling. And he was actually on Conan O'Brien's podcast to tell him about his gimmick and stuff like that. Essentially, his gimmick is very nice, very evil. So he plays this kind of character that's meant to be like an evil baddie, but he's actually polite. Like, so a big thing of part of his act is he doesn't like people swearing. So if he's in the ring with the opponent and they start swearing, he like kind of scolds them for it. But the thing as well, like if you look back at his early career, because like once I get this picture up to kind of show you what I mean, when you look at his early career, he's also a really good worker. His original look had a bit of like a Tommy End, Aleister Black kind of look to him. He has the tattoos, and he was very like skilled with his kicks and his chops, and he was quite athletic. But then because like it wasn't like the most original thing, he leaned more into this sort of comedic styling. And it's done really well for him. So he signed a Ring of Honor last year, and he does really well on things like Cameo and his YouTube channel. This is what he looks
like. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he's really good. And I just think like he's already had quite a storied. He's already had quite a storied indie career with the likes of Warhorse and Orange Cassidy, and I just think he'd be quite another unique element. It would help with, because I think, even though AEW is more focused on the wrestling, I think they do still need that kind of extra bit of entertainment side of it to keep like any casual fans that they might want to try and bring across. And I think Danhausen could be that extra layer because he could bring that good comedic element to it, just to kind of break down the non-stop good wrestling. So yeah, Danhausen.
Very nice. I'll have to look up clips of this. I'm just literally looking up pictures of him now. Yeah, no, I'll have to watch clips of this guy. This guy's
honestly listen. Oh, he's great. He goes on YouTube channel and he does like unboxing, and he goes to like conventions and stuff, and he always pretty much does it in character. Listen to, so Conan O'Brien's got quite a good podcast called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, where typically he interviews celebrities, but he does like an offshoot called Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan. The very first episode he did of that, he interviews Danhausen and asks him about his wrestling career, and he ended up becoming Conan O'Brien's favorite wrestler. So yeah, Danhausen. I'm guessing you guys won't have too much to add to that one. So, Scott, what was your number 4?
My number 4. My number 4 is he's been on the mind today because I watched a match he had with Sami Zayn in NXT years and years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And then it led me to a clip of this guy's wrestling highlights, and I'm shocked that WWE has not plastered this guy with titles. It's Cesaro. How? Because the guys that like, it was typically used an example for by Vince McMahon in the Broken Skull sessions as someone who does not grasp the brass ring, right? I think that's ridiculous in so many ways, because it's not just this guy's style, but it's his strength, the work he must put in training and at the gym to get his body the way it is. He's naturally charismatic. He's had multiple phases, a brilliant tag team with Tyson Kidd, which was arguably one of my favorite multi-tag matches in WrestleMania history. And I think, if I'm trying to remember WrestleMania 31 well enough, not sure if it was on the undercard or not. But it was still like a really good match. It was like them, the New Day, someone else and someone else. And he even had the whole gimmick where he was coming on dressed as James Bond, but just with a tearaway suit. And it was my favorite thing for so long. Oh, the bar as well. Bring Sheamus over to AEW with them. Screw it. I'm going to change this from just Cesaro to the bar as a whole. Because what a tag team that was. That was just, their entrance was phenomenal.
Arguably Sheamus' best work as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the work Sheamus is doing now, to be fair. His whole like weird Irish gangster gimmick. I like it. But like
Irish Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. But it's just send the bar to AEW. Let them have a match with Santana and Ortiz, or let them have a match with Lucha Brothers, or Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. That'd be a great match too. I'm going to change my answer from just Cesaro by himself to the Bar. I sold myself on that idea midway through describing Cesaro, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd have the Bar in AEW. Like, the Bar were one of them tag teams that just should not have worked.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have worked, but it did. And thank God it did, because I think if it didn't, like, the only tag teams really in WWE at that time were the New Day and the Usos.
Mm.
And
yeah.
As much as, like, I love the Usos and the New Day's matches because they've always been fantastic, it was just nice to have that third team in there. But yeah, like you say, they could have matches against the Lucha Bros, the Bucks, anyone really, any tag team.
Private Party
would
be a great match.
Like, they could even like, see, you might not know this, but TNA used to do a thing called the Deuces Wild tournament, where you'd go, you'd draw a name out of a hat, that's your tag partner, and then there was a knockout tag team tournament. Winners become number one contender for the tag titles. But if they did it somewhere, it was actual tag team. Someone was thrown together, and if I'm remembering rightly, that might have been how Beer Money came about. Who, again, another fantastic tag team that should not have worked but did. So even if they try to do something in the same way as that, right, we're going to have a tournament, winners become the number one contenders, and then just have these surprise tag teams coming in. Because then you can have them, even if they don't win it, but you can have them get to the final and just have dream matches all the way at the final.
Yeah. Jurassic Express. Express would be another great match. Luchasaurus and Cesaro mixing it up will be perfect. And imagine how fast he'd be able to swing Jungle Boy. It would be lightning.
No, he'd be going that fast, he'd actually take off.
Yeah. And
out the helicopter.
They're flying out of the Allstate Arena, by God.
Goes so fast he goes backwards in time before Jungle Boy was born. He's just holding a fetus by the end of it.
That's like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I love
it. Again. Brooke Scott, I'm proud.
I'm gonna beat you so hard. I'm gonna pin you before you are born.
Just goes back in time, and then he's just swinging. He's just got hold of Matthew Perry by the balls. It's like,
what happened here?
Luke Perry, that's the one.
But even then, get Cesaro and Sheamus on singles runs as well. Cesaro versus I know for a lot of these are going to be like so-and-so versus Omega, but come on, Cesaro versus Omega would be a great match.
See, even the Bar versus the Rhodes Brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, legit, one of my favourite tag matches in WWE was the Rhodes Brothers as Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus The Shield. I don't think they ever had a match with the Bar, which would have been amazing.
The Bar might have been after their time, you know.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been in the Stardust. They might have been in the Stardust era.
It were, I think it was around that time. Yeah. That would be another solid tag suggestion. I agree. I'd love to see the Bar there. I don't think I'd see Sheamus ever leaving WWE, but I definitely could see Cesaro doing it. I think one of the biggest disappointments for this year was when Cesaro had that blinder of a match at WrestleMania, and it was kind of like he was a focal point of it, and it seemed like, all right, so are they finally going to pull the trigger? Is he finally going to get to do some big stuff? Had a shot at the Universal title, but then it just feels like they've just once again deactivated that push, and he's just kind of fell back down the card again. So I think he's another one that, when maybe he's looking to start wrapping up his career, he'd want to go elsewhere and show the world of how good he was. Because the big reason he got to WWE is because he was a huge name in the likes of the PWG and Ring of Honor before he made it to WWE, and everyone thought this was going to be the guy to be the next main eventer there. And like we said, he's always had a push behind him, and then for whatever reason, it just falls short. For whatever reason, clearly Vince just seems to be like, which is completely nuts to me.
I think the reason he keeps getting these like mini pushes and then he's losing them is the only fault in Cesaro's game is his mic skills.
Yeah.
But that might be because of the language barrier, or because.
But even then, I can think of a couple.
Like 6 languages. He speaks 6 languages. He's not going to be like. Like, I only speak 1 language, but I can imagine if you've got like that many languages kicking about in your head, you're going to have to think.
Yeah.
Like as you're talking, that might be why he's not very good on the mic.
I thought like yes, but at the same time, WWE have Eva Marie, and
yeah, but there's 2 reasons they've got Eva Marie.
Well, even like Brock Lesnar, for example, like Brock Lesnar's not. He's amazing in literally every department apart from his own mic skills, in my opinion. Please don't hurt me, Brock.
The difference there is though, Brock's a spectacle. Cesaro is not.
Yeah, true.
Or a testicle, if you believe Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, good. Topical and clever.
Yeah. Solid pick, Scott. Jace, what have you got the number 4 for us?
Yeah, I'll go for one that's a bit. It's probably going to be the one that people are going to disagree with the most.
Okay.
I'm going to say Roman Reigns.
No, I see it.
It'd be good, but I doubt it's ever going to happen.
In a Hulk Hogan going to WCW kind of way. In a Hulk Hogan going to WCW kind of way, I definitely see it.
I think now that Reigns is sort of like come into his own, finally shaken off like the Shield, and now that he's the head of the table, what have you, he could go anywhere because now he knows what he's doing. Knows what he's doing on the mic. He knows what he's doing in the ring. He knows how to get that heat behind him, and I think it would be brilliant for some of the like it'd be like having Jericho, but like a more modern version of Jericho, that big household name to feed to the younger people, to get them more over, even if they don't beat him, because they're not going to beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But even if you don't beat him, like to have that brush with him, and like I could see him being like more of an Undertaker type figure in AEW, of being like that eldest, like, even though he's still relatively new to the business anyway, that elder statesman of being like, if you can hang with him for a couple of segments, you're going to be all right, because he's going to make money despite himself.
Can you imagine Vince McMahon's anger? I reckon it would, genuinely reckon it would reverse gravity. Like, people would start falling into the fucking clouds.
I'm going to make a Twitter account, and I'm going to tweet Roman Reigns every day, tell him to go to AEW just to see what Vince does.
That could actually finish Vince off. That could actually give him a heart attack.
I think it would cause nuclear fission. Like, it would just suddenly all the lights in like Las Vegas, Nevada suddenly smash or something like that. Some kind of weird natural phenomenon will begin.
I just like to think that Vince is such an egomaniac. He's got somehow that when he dies, he's got like lights that's going to go over him, saying like "game over" or something. And if Reigns leaves AEW, it's just going to say "game over."
Level 2. It's just like put in one more credit to continue. It's like when you die on Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick. I'd love to see Roman Reigns in it. I'd love to see the whole bloodline, because Reigns and the Usos.
I'll change it to the bloodline. Get the Usos there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finally have the Elite versus the Bloodline, which is basically the big faction warfare at the moment, right?
That's the
Well,
DX versus
DX
versus NWO of now, basically.
Yeah.
And like just that tag match between the Bucks and the Usos, like that gives me the biggest erection.
Tell you who I think will have a very interesting kind of match against Roman Reigns. I reckon he'd have a great match against Darby. Not your erection, although that could be a good match. Who knows?
We could sell it to pay-per-view.
I
HBO
was trying to come up with an insurrection joke because I'd watched Dark Side of the Ring.
Roman Reigns will get we'll have my erection.
Anyways, I was about to say Darby Allin versus Roman Reigns would be a great match, in my opinion. I'll be saying this throughout the entirety of this episode. I'll be like, put Jungle Boy against Damien Sandow. It would be a good match, and it probably would. But I'm going to say it anyways.
I know. I can already picture the spot Darby would have in mind, and it's him going for the coffin drop, and then Reigns gets up and spears him midair while he's behind. I mean, I don't know how you could do that without actually breaking Darby's back, but I'm sure Darby would be like, "Yeah, we could do that."
So many times I've watched a Darby match, and I'm like, "How does he do that without?" When he went through the casket back first, and I was like, "Nah, he's doing some spinal damage, but it's Darby, isn't it?"
That CM Punk match where he just gets yeeted into the ring post, like he goes through the turnbuckles back first. I was like, "Why?" Darby,
how is this guy not in perpetual pain? But yeah, I guess.
And I'll tell you what, with Reigns, I would love to see him have a match with Moxley.
There
He's had matches with Ambrose, but he's never been with Moxley. He's never been with anyone like Moxley.
No.
Yeah.
And the story is already writing itself.
Yeah. Like you can't really say the Shield, but we all know what they're talking about.
No, well, no, I don't even mean like that. I mean like Moxley, sort of like one of the biggest names in the company. Then Reigns comes in, overshadowed him, and Moxley's just like, "Right, you bastard." And he has to say that. He has to say, right, you bastard.
Oh, you little dafty.
Come here, Bonnie lad.
You dafty.
Have you never heard that before?
I'm picturing a Geordie John Moxley. It's what I'm picturing.
Sure.
New pitch for AEW. Moxley, Pac, tag team. Moxley starts doing a Geordie accent.
I'm sure Pac will give them some good tips.
There was that story in WWE, wasn't there, where Miz wanted Neville to teach him the Geordie accent. Because apparently he had... Yeah, because apparently the story was the Miz had got cast to be playing a Geordie and wanted Pac to teach him how to do a Geordie accent. Just every week it was just the Miz like trying to like different ways to get him to teach him.
That's mad.
But like it was before he became like the king of the cruiserweight, so he was still like a baby face.
Yeah.
But he was just every time he was just like just walks away. Which I think that would have been hilariously depressing. Trying to watch the Miz do a Geordie accent. I'm sure he called him Bonnie Lad at one point as well.
Oh, God. Americans just stay away from the Geordie accent. But solid number 4 picks. Guys.
How do you say this? Howay and shite? What does it mean?
And shite. Well, to be fair, it's like that. It's like that when you go to London.
Oh yeah.
Me and Greg aren't even Geordies, but I love your Geordie accent. We're not Geordies.
Yeah, Mackams.
What?
No, what?
We're not
I'm joking. No.